Welcome to the fifth episode of Life Brand Management with your girl, Brittany. Hey, aka DC Starks if you follow me on social. I am so excited that I am on episode 5. And one of the things that I've been doing with this podcast is not necessarily planning things out, right? Like I have no strict plan for what I usually talk about in advance, other than the fact that I may be inspired to talk about a particular topic. And so this particular episode, I am inspired to talk about a topic, and the topic is a couple of things. So the first thing is I had an epiphany while talking to both my brother, my oldest brother, and my mom, and they were two separate occasions, but the theme of understanding kept coming up. It was the theme of understanding, like meaning how what I'm understanding or how I'm processing in order to gain understanding of information. So for my brother, what kept coming up, or what came up in conversation with him, was I think I shared something with him about a video or something I saw on YouTube, and I got really excited about it because he and I talk a lot about different spiritual principles and things that we're learning about along our journeys. And I shared it with him, and he, and like after hearing some of it, he was like, okay, well, what did you draw from it? Because this isn't clicking for me. Right? Like maybe I'm not getting what you're getting from it, and I just want to know like what it is that was exciting for you to hear that from you. Like I want to hear from you what is that point of excitement, or what did you get from that? And I started explaining to him, and he's like, okay, I would have never thought about that because I don't process it that way. So then we got into the conversation of how, every person has to process information for themselves according to their own level of understanding. And some of y'all are probably listening to this like, duh, right? Like, duh, like, don't you know that? Because it sounds so logical, right? But in practice, in our everyday lives, we don't always give people the grace to understand that everybody's literally synthesizing information according to their level of understanding and their level of awareness. So how I might read the same book as you, we may not take away the same lessons. We may not take away the same understanding because we both live so different lives. We're two different individuals. We process information differently. And so if we both had to give a summary of the book, there may be some similarities, but they're obviously going to be very different, right? And so we concluded that conversation, and then fast forward to actually this morning, I was talking to my mom because she wanted to share something with me out of excitement. So it's so interesting that the roles reversed, where she was sharing something exciting with me, and as soon as she finished explaining what she was excited about, I was just like, okay, like, and I had to hit her with the same question that my brother hit me with. What was it that excited you about it? And as I allowed her to explain and I'm listening to her, I'm having the internal understanding, really understanding the lesson that I'm sharing with you guys about how, wow, she's excited according to her level of understanding, her level of consciousness and where she is. And I might not be there where she is to understand it from that perspective, but I can still join her in her excitement, or just, give her the satisfaction of knowing that I listened to her. And so I thought it was so interesting. I feel like life has a funny sense of humor sometimes to really bring certain concepts into your reality so that you can really understand it. And I think that usually happens because that's a critical lesson that you probably need to learn in that season that you're in. So for me, I feel like that must have been my critical lesson to learn in this particular season. Interestingly enough, because this past weekend, which is the second part of what I wanted to talk about on this podcast, this past weekend I did a thing, And that thing which I did is something that I am, hold on, I want to make sure I say the right word. It's something that I am very proud of myself for doing, because when I spoke in the last podcast about procrastination and not allowing procrastination to stop you or steal your dreams. Well, guys, part of this whole experiment with this podcast is me doing just that, challenging myself from no longer procrastinating, because I have always had a bigger vision for how I could use my gifts and my skills and my perspective on how I see things and how I process information to help other people. And I had been holding off, or like I would start and stop because life would get in the way. And I know there's somebody out there who can relate to this. But when I talked about procrastination, not only was I doing this podcast to break free from that program, from that cycle of procrastination, but I feel like in doing so, I opened up another level within myself to not only tackle that aspect of my procrastination, but in terms of giving myself an outlet to do the thing that I know I can do. But I also charged myself with completing a course that I have been working on, and I'm going to be very transparent about this, guys. Remember, this is all about vulnerability, so you can learn through my life lessons. But I had been working, quote unquote, and I'm doing the little bunny fingers as I, the bunny fingers that you do to represent quotation marks. That's what I'm doing as I talk about this. I've been working on this course for upwards of about 2 years, if I'm honest. Pre-pandemic, any of you that are listening that may have followed me on social media, when I did a website launch, I literally had an entire website haul where this amazing website designer created my website, dcstartspr.com. And it was supposed to be a page where you would go to, you learn about me, you then click on certain things to be able to take a course with me. But when I had her set it up, I hadn't finished the course. And so she set up this beautiful site for me. And it's been up and running. And it's just been collecting people's emails who are interested in my course. And don't get me wrong, I have felt bad about this, right? But at the same time, I have a philosophy where I have an understanding that all things in the fullness of time for me. Meaning, when I'm ready, I'm not going to let anything outside of me rush my process. And I think my good guy Jay-Z said that. Shout out to Ho. I'm not going to let anything outside of me rush my process. And I was in a place where I felt like I didn't want to be teaching something that I'm not actually practicing myself, at least practicing. Or I don't want to be teaching something that I'm not at least seasoned enough to say that I've overcome and that I could, show you a path through this, right? And that's just the way that I've always been. Like, I believe in integrity. I believe in learning from people who have experience with things, not just people who are bench riders and just like to observe, because that borders philosophy. And philosophy don't really have legs unless you put it to the test. That's just how I see it, right? And because of that, I can't look like a liar to myself. I'm like, this is what you really believe. And if you believe that, you go ahead and put out this course that you know you don't feel 100% confident in, then that's going to be a problem. So what I did was, this weekend, the opportunity arose where I had some extra time. And I believe there's no such thing as boredom. If you are ever bored, it's a bunch of stuff in your life that you could be working towards to help align yourself with that version of you that you feel you truly are. Right? Like, you don't just wake up and your dreams are manifested. You literally are preparing yourself or aligning yourself with the actions and the routines and the habits that you develop, that you do day in and day out, right? So if I was having some extra time, so I said, you know what? because I'm in a space where I am breaking through and no longer allowing myself to procrastinate, I'm going to tap back in with this course. And so I started finishing up modules, and then I found myself to be what I considered finished. And that happened, or I realized that at about 3 o'clock in the morning, on 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And so from there, of course, I had to get some kind of sleep, went to sleep. And then I woke up maybe around like 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I was tired. I'm not going to lie. Being creative will have you feeling somewhat exhausted. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, be a content creator and you'll understand. But yeah, so once I woke up, I don't know what really took over me, but I just kept hearing this voice in my head, or not, it wasn't a real voice. It was just like this internal knowing or nudge that, what if you launched a course? What if you recorded everything that you needed to record and it was done today? What if you finished it this weekend? What if you made yourself stay in this room and not allow yourself to leave until you finish that course? Because again, the night before or up until 3 a.m., I finished creating the actual content, meaning the PowerPoint presentation, the notes that I wanted to talk about, whatever other content was needed. I did it to the best of my ability because I had been working on it for 2 years, guys. Slowly but surely. I wasn't touching it every day, but I would touch things and then leave it alone for a couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks turned into months. And this became a pattern with me. And so I finally said, you know what, enough. And as this voice was saying to me, what if you do this thing and make this thing complete? Stop worrying about what you talked about in the last podcast about procrastination. I'm sorry, not procrastination, but about perfectionism. You understand how this thing goes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to get started. You need to get started. You need to move. And obviously what you put together is not going to be sloppy, because I'm not a sloppy kind of girl. Like, I pay attention to detail. Even my sloppy shit is better than some people's. All right, we're not going to go there, because not to toot my own horn, but I get it, right? I get that I have certain gifts. So with that being said, I was like, yo, if you do this thing that you said you were going to do finally, imagine what kind of other dimensions or doors within yourself you would break free from, or you would break through, or you would open yourself up to experience. Because procrastination is nothing more than fear. It's fear. It's feeling like you're not good enough, like you don't know enough, like you haven't, something needs to be better than what it is. And it comes from a space of lack, right? It's a very limited viewpoint of a situation, or a very limited viewpoint of yourself and your role in your reality. And so you stall. And that's what I knew that was. And it was this crippling procrastination. And if I was able to break through or break free from it and started my podcast, I feel that is what gave me permission to continue to break the layers of what procrastination had built up within me. Right? Because what you don't realize is, like, procrastination in one area is not it's not the actual it's not the actual symptom. I'm sorry, it's not the actual, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Procrastination is a symptom of something. It's not the cause, right? I believe the cause is a deeply rooted fear or a deeply rooted limiting belief. But if you don't pay attention to the procrastination, you'll be fooled, and you'll think that it's only in one area. If you dig deeper, you'll realize, oh no, it's not just in one area, or it's not just on one topic. Because I have this limiting belief, that's affecting me in more than one way, if you pay attention, right? So that's what was happening with me. And so I just made the decision, I'm going to record my video. And I did. I took each module and I recorded a video. Guys, I kid you not, I must have been recording for about 5 or 6 hours. And the content totaled about 3.5 to 4 hours of content. So this is what whoever signs up for my course will be getting from me. And I'm going to actually expand on that, because I got inspired after going through my course and watching the modules to include about 2 additional 30-minute videos, just to supplement. But guys, I'm so freaking proud of what came out of me. After I finished recording my course, I'm trying to put the words to what I felt in my body. In my body, I felt like I had run a marathon, right? I felt like I was exhausted, but it was a strange kind of exhaustion. It wasn't your typical exhaustion. Like, I go to the gym, I work out at least 5 days a week, on the low end 3 days a week. I know what it could feel like to feel physically exhausted, but this was different, right? It felt like it was a deep exhaustion. Like, my soul had been through a marathon. And if I'm honest about it, guys, I really poured into this course all of the many lessons that I have learned over the years. And I'm not talking about 2 years. I'm talking about years since I've known about our ability to create or co-create our realities. And I would say I probably got a whiff of this on a conscious level when The Secret came out back in 2006. But I had been doing things in alignment with manifestation long before that, long before I even knew what it was, right? But I became conscious through The Secret. And The Secret was the gateway to a lot of other different things. Again, A Course in Miracles. Again, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Again, Abraham and Esther Hicks. And that's just some of them. Like, you know, if you come to my family home, like my family, we are avid readers of, you know, books. Like, and we have libraries, each of us, me and my siblings, like, particularly my oldest brother and myself and my mom. We're the three readers in the family. And guys, I felt like I poured it into this course in a way that I feel that people can really understand it, and my soul felt lighter. So when I talk about procrastination helping me break through layers, I really mean that, because I feel like I have tapped into another level within myself. And it's so funny because the same young lady that I keep mentioning, my friend Michelle, who was also the catalyst for me starting this podcast, she was the first person that I texted to tell her, hey sis, you will not believe what I actually did this weekend. I went ahead and I completed creating my course. And she was like, oh my God, girl, like, that's amazing. And she shared with me, because as a recap, anybody who hadn't heard about me talk about Michelle in the past, is that Michelle is already a super successful online entrepreneur. She has created multiple streams of income using her creative assets like content creation. And I've been very blessed to cross paths with her. But at the same time, she shared with me, when I told her I finished my course, that her completing her very first course was the door that she needed to open to then have an extreme breakthrough, and she never looked back. When she created her first course and she realized she could affect lives and also still be taken care of by God and the universe, because she's using her natural abilities, and man, like, when she said that, I literally got a glimpse of my future. And if I'm honest, y'all, like, I don't know who's even listening to this, so I'm not going to go all the way there. But I just really, truly envision a future where I feel so free, guys. I feel free from the systems that currently I'm a part of. And when I say systems, I mean, you know, traditional work, free from the systems of, like, you know, just working to pay bills. Like, that whole mentality, I would never get used to it, but I always knew that I would do something entrepreneurial in order to get me to where I want to be. And not just run any kind of business, but something that's heart-centered, something that's authentic to who I am and who I've become and who I'm becoming, and who my soul, like, truly came here to, what my soul truly came here to express. The I behind the I, right? I always had a knowing that I would eventually commit my life to the kind of work that honors my true identity, my soul's identity, not this avatar, Brittany, or Brittany that you guys are hearing speak to you, but the soul that lies within me, the truth of that, the truth of the authentic expression of what my soul came here to express. And so I had to share that with y'all because this is real life, right? Like, some of the people I mostly appreciate are those who teach and share from a space of authenticity. I can respect it because I know that the journey is not always going to be. I'm not here. I didn't call myself a manifesting mentor as a clickbait thing. I literally call myself that because I am on this journey. I am doing a bunch of trial and error. I am, trying things and understanding my position in life and gaining more awareness and failing and picking myself back up. And I'm not here to promise anybody anything quick because my journey has not been quick. So I can't sell you quick, right? For the people that are out there on the internet that are selling quick and fast, God bless them, right? Because I can't judge it. I don't know it enough to judge it. But I will say this. It's very clickbaitish. And for those who have not built up enough trust within themselves, they're going to click on it. And they're going to have this expectation of, where's my stuff? And they're going to get discouraged when it doesn't show up right away because guess what? Everything don't show up in life that way. And they're going to get discouraged and they're going to stop believing in their ability to create. And they're going to say, you know what, this stuff doesn't work. Life is just hard. And I don't know what y'all are talking about. This doesn't work. Or on the other end, they might get some temporary results, right? Because I do believe that we're powerful enough to manifest things out of thin air and get temporary results. But what I've come to learn is that unless you become a vibrational match to what it is you manifest, you're going to lose it. You can manifest, Michael Beckwith said this on his Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. You can manifest winning the lotto. But if you have not become a vibrational match to the amount of money that you brought into yourself through winning the lottery, you will find that the money will go very fast because you haven't aligned yourself internally with the identity of the person that has that kind of money. The same with a relationship. All these people that are wanting to manifest a specific person, I've been there. I've done that, right? And part of me is still kind of on that journey. But the thing that I've realized is if I don't address the things that are within me that has kept me from having the kind of relationship that I want to have, then no matter how quickly I manifest this special person into my life, that person is not going to be able to stay for the long haul. Things will come up. They will, maybe my energetically and the way I'm showing up will push them away because there's certain things within me that I have not dealt with, right? So a lot of people are getting and clicking this clickbait and thinking they're going to get quick results, and some of them actually do. But what they come to find is that they're not able to stabilize and keep whatever it is or maintain whatever it is they can. Right? You might get that dream job, but I guarantee you this. If you are not a vibrational match for what is required for that job, you're going to lose it or you're going to prove yourself to not be competent. That's just the way it is. So I call myself a manifesting mentor because I'm actually living this life and I am being as transparent as I am comfortable being. But you guys are really getting me in my journey. And so for anybody that's listening to this, if this resonates with you at all, I'm here to champion you, to let you know that you might have been procrastinating. You might have been holding off on things thinking that you aren't perfect. You might have been one of the ones that clicked that clickbait about, manifesting fast. That's okay. I've been there before too. It's a judgment-free zone. But I do want you to know that if you challenge your fears, right? If you use my podcast as a catalyst to inspire you, or any other content or any other books or knowledge, use it as a catalyst to inspire you to take action and challenge those fears. Do the things that you know you can do with what you have, where you are right now. You are good enough. It is good enough. And guess what? You can tweak as you go. This is a lesson that I'm learning. Not I've known it intellectually for years. I probably have said it to myself or said it to other people, but I'm actually demonstrating, because I am in the season of posting less, demonstrating more, because I feel like that's the best way to. I learned my best lessons from people who literally walked through the fire and came out on the other side as a freaking winner. So I know the power of that, and I want y'all to know that y'all can do it. You can do it. You can do whatever that thing is. All right? And so I'm going to actually wrap up today's podcast. I think I'm running low on my battery and I don't want it to die out. But I thank you for listening to today's podcast. And if you like it, be a supporter of this new venture that I'm embarking on. It's not a requirement, but if you resonate with it and you feel moved to, by all means, you're welcome, and I would appreciate it. But either way, I'm happy that you're here with me. And until next time, peace.